Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let me start with a question that might hit a little close to home. When was the last time you looked in the mirror, not just at your reflection, but at the person staring back at you and felt genuinely proud? Not just of how you look, but of your choices, your habits, the life you're building. Take a second to think about that. When was it? If you're struggling to answer that question, you're not alone. So many of us feel this quiet emptiness inside, even when we're surrounded by love, success, or applause from the world. You could have the dream job, the perfect partner, or a house full of people who care about you. But if you don't love you, the person you are when no one's watching, it all feels like it's slipping through your fingers. It's like building a castle on sand. It looks great for a moment, but it's temporary. Here's the hard truth, and I want you to hear me out on this. The most important relationship you'll ever have isn't with your spouse, your best friend, or even your family. It's with yourself. That's the foundation for everything else in your life. If that relationship is broken, if you're constantly doubting, criticizing, or abandoning yourself, nothing else will ever feel quite right. Think about it. How many times have you felt like you're chasing something? Validation, success, love, hoping it'll finally make you feel whole. I've been there. A few years ago, I landed a job I thought would change everything. Big title, good money, everyone telling me, you've made it. But late at night, when it was just me and my thoughts, I felt empty. I realized I was waiting for the world to tell me I was enough while I wasn't even giving myself that permission. That's when it hit me. Self-love isn't some fluffy, feel-good buzzword. It's survival. It's the oxygen mask you put on first before you can help anyone else. It's about setting a standard for how you deserve to be treated, by others and by yourself. It's about protecting your energy when the world tries to drain it, and believing in your worth even when no one else sees it. In today's video, we're diving deep into how to love yourself more than anyone else, not in a way that shuts out the world, but in a way that makes you stronger, calmer, and unshakable. Because here's the game changer. When you stop abandoning yourself, you stop settling for less than you deserve. You start showing up as the person you're proud to be, not just the person you think others want you to be. Let me share a quick story. I have a friend, Sarah, who's a single mom, works 2 jobs, and always puts everyone else first. Her kids, her boss, her friends. She used to tell me she felt like a failure because she couldn't do it all perfectly. One day I asked her, when was the last time you did something just for you? She laughed, like it was a ridiculous idea. But then she tried it, simple things like taking a quiet walk or saying no to an extra shift. Slowly, she started to feel like she was worth her own time. And you know what? Her kids noticed a happier mom. Her work improved because she wasn't burned out. Loving herself didn't take away from others. It gave her more to give. So, why does this matter for you? Because loving yourself sets the tone for your entire life. Imagine waking up every day knowing you've got your own back. Imagine walking into a room without needing anyone's approval to feel good about yourself. That's the kind of strength we're building here. And it starts with small, intentional steps. Things like speaking kindly to yourself, keeping promises you make to yourself, or even just spending 5 minutes alone with your thoughts without distraction. Here's a challenge for you to try right now. Pause this video, grab a piece of paper, and write down one thing you're proud of about yourself. Not something you did, but something about who you are. Maybe it's your resilience, your kindness, or the way you keep showing up even when it's hard. Write it down and keep it somewhere you'll see it tomorrow. That's your first step toward building a relationship with yourself that's stronger than any other. This journey we're starting today isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming you. The version of you that's calm under pressure, confident in your worth, and unafraid to protect your peace. Stick with me through this video because we're going to break down exactly how to make that happen. From setting boundaries to silencing that inner critic, we're covering it all. And trust me, by the end, you'll feel ready to take on your life with a whole new kind of energy. So, hit that like button if you're ready to start loving yourself a little more today. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next part of this journey. Let's do this together, because you deserve to be your own biggest fan. I'll see you in the next segment. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Let's kick things off with a question that might make you pause for a second. When was the last time you felt proud of yourself? Not for something you accomplished, like a promotion or a project, but just for who you are. For the person you're becoming, flaws and all. If that feels like a tough one to answer, stick with me, because today we're diving into the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. Here's the deal. So many of us spend our lives chasing love, approval, or validation from everyone else, our partners, our friends, our coworkers, while completely neglecting the one person we can never escape, ourselves. You can run to a new city, start a new job, or surround yourself with new people, but at the end of the day, you're still with you. And if that relationship is broken, if you're constantly beating yourself up or doubting your worth, nothing else in your life will ever feel quite right. I've been there. A couple of years ago, I caught myself in a cycle of self-criticism. I'd mess up a presentation at work and spend days replaying it, calling myself a failure. I'd compare myself to others who seemed to have it all together. It wasn't until I realized I was treating myself worse than I'd ever treat a friend that I knew something had to change. That's when I started building a loving relationship with myself. And let me tell you, it's been a game changer. So, how do you start loving yourself in a way that sticks? It's not about grand gestures or waiting for a magical moment when everything falls into place. Self-love is something you build deliberately, with effort, attention, and consistency, just like you'd nurture any other important relationship. Think about how you treat someone you care about deeply. You listen to them, you show them respect, you're patient with their mistakes, you forgive them when they stumble. Now, be honest. Do you give yourself that same kind of care? For most of us, the answer is no. We're our own worst critics. We replay our failures on a loop, call ourselves names when we mess up, and hold ourselves to impossible standards we'd never expect from anyone else. I used to tell myself, I can't believe you did that again, when I made a mistake, as if I was supposed to be perfect. But here's the truth. The way you talk to yourself shapes how you see yourself. Your mind believes the words you repeat. So what if you started swapping out that harsh self-talk for something kinder? Instead of I can't believe I screwed up, try I'm learning and I'll get better. Instead of I'm not good enough, say I'm still becoming the person I want to be. But self-love isn't just about what you say, it's about what you do. Think about a friend who constantly breaks their promises to you. They say they'll show up, but they flake. They promise to help, but they don't follow through. Would you trust them? Probably not. Yet we do this to ourselves all the time. We say we'll start that workout routine, then skip it. We promise to set boundaries with someone toxic, then let them back in. Every broken promise to yourself chips away at your self-respect. So start small. Keep the promises you make to yourself, even the little ones. Get up when you say you will. Finish that one task you've been avoiding. Say no to something that doesn't feel right. Each time you follow through, you're rebuilding trust with yourself. I started doing this by committing to just 10 minutes of journaling every morning. It wasn't much, but keeping that promise made me feel like I had my own back. Over time, those small wins added up, and I started to trust myself in a way I never had before. Another key piece: spend intentional time alone. I'm not talking about scrolling on your phone or binge-watching a show to drown out your thoughts. I mean really being with yourself. Go for a walk without headphones. Take yourself out to lunch and just sit with your thoughts. Ask yourself, what do I really want out of life? At first, it might feel uncomfortable. Silence has a way of bringing up stuff we'd rather avoid. But you can't love someone you don't know, and you can't know yourself if you're always running from your own thoughts. I remember the first time I tried this. I went to a cafe alone, no phone, no distractions. I felt awkward, like everyone was staring at me, but after a few minutes I started to enjoy it. I noticed things about myself, dreams I'd pushed aside, feelings I hadn't let myself feel. That time alone helped me reconnect with me. And here's the big one: forgiveness. You can't love yourself if you're still punishing yourself for past mistakes. We all have them, words we regret, choices we wish we could take back. But holding onto that guilt doesn't fix anything. It just keeps you stuck. Forgiveness means letting go of the idea that your mistakes define you. It means saying, I messed up, but I'm not going to let that control me anymore. Every time you forgive yourself, you make space for growth instead of guilt. The result, you start to feel like you've got your own back. You stop chasing validation from people who can't give it to you. You stop settling for less than you deserve. And something amazing happens. You move through life with a quiet confidence. You speak more clearly, walk with more purpose, and stop explaining your worth to anyone. This is just the beginning. Loving yourself is the foundation for every other relationship in your life. When you respect yourself, you demand respect from others. When you value yourself, you stop letting people treat you like you're disposable. And when you love yourself, you realize you already have the kind of love you've been searching for. So, here's your challenge. Pick one small promise to keep for yourself today. Maybe it's getting up on time, saying no to something that drains you, or spending 10 minutes alone with your thoughts. Do it and notice how it feels. If you're ready to start this journey, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what promise you're making to yourself today. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep building this relationship with you together. I'll see you in the next part of this series. Hey there. Welcome back to the channel. Let's start with a big question today. What if I told you that every moment of joy, every peaceful sigh, every burst of happiness you've ever felt is shaped by how you see yourself? Think about that for a second. Two people can live the exact same life, same job, same house, same relationships. But one feels deeply content while the other feels like something's always missing. What's the difference? It's not luck, it's self-love. And today, we're diving into why loving yourself is the foundation of true, lasting happiness. Here's the truth. Without self-love, happiness is like a guest that shows up for a moment and leaves just as quickly. You might feel a rush from landing that big promotion, finding the perfect partner, or buying your dream home. But if you don't love yourself, that excitement fades and you're left chasing the next big thing, hoping this time it'll fill the void. Spoiler alert, it won't. I learned this the hard way. A few years ago, I got a new car, shiny, perfect, the kind I'd always wanted. Everyone was impressed, and for a week, I felt on top of the world. But then the high wore off and I was back to feeling restless. Why? Because I was building my happiness on things outside of me like a house on sand. The moment life shifts, and it always does, that house collapses. Self-love is the solid ground. It's the foundation that keeps your happiness steady, no matter what storms come your way. When you love yourself, you stop waiting for permission to feel good about your life. You don't need the perfect day, the perfect body, or the perfect relationship to feel whole. It's like flipping on a light inside you that no one else can turn off. Even when life gets tough, and trust me, it will, you have this inner stability, this quiet confidence that says, I am enough. But here's the catch. Building self-love means unlearning years of conditioning. From the time we're kids, we're taught that our worth comes from how well we perform, how good we look, or how much we please others. We're rewarded for fitting in, for checking boxes, for being good in someone else's eyes. Over time, we start outsourcing our happiness. We wait for a boss to praise us, a partner to love us, or a number on a scale to tell us we're okay. I used to do this constantly, checking my phone for likes on a post, hoping a compliment would make me feel better about myself. But it's a trap. When your happiness depends on external things, you're at the mercy of everyone else's moods and opinions. So, how do you break free? You reverse the pattern. You decide, right now, that you don't need everything to go perfectly to feel good about yourself. You can wake up in the morning and say, today I'm enough just as I am. You can sit alone and feel whole without needing someone else to fill the space. You can receive love from others without depending on it to survive. That's what self-love does. It sets you free. It doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you unshakable. You enjoy the highs of life without clinging to them, and you endure the lows without falling apart. Let me share a story. My friend Mark was always the life of the party, always chasing the next adventure, the next relationship. But he admitted to me one day that he felt empty when he was alone. He thought happiness was out there, in the next trip, the next date. But when he started practicing self-love, things changed. He began small, writing down one thing he liked about himself each day, taking time to rest without guilt, saying no to plans that drained him. Slowly, he stopped needing constant noise to feel okay. He started enjoying his own company, and his relationships got healthier because he wasn't showing up desperate for approval. His work felt more meaningful because he wasn't chasing recognition. Even his downtime felt richer because he was finally enjoying being himself. Here's why this matters for you. When you love yourself, everything in your life levels up. Your relationships become stronger because you're not approaching them from a place of need. You can love others without losing yourself. Your work becomes more fulfilling because you're doing it for you, not for applause. Even your free time feels better because you're not trying to escape who you are. You're enjoying who you are. You can't skip self-love and expect to find lasting happiness. It's like planting flowers in toxic soil. They might bloom for a moment, but they won't last. Self-love is the fertile ground that makes joy sustainable. And the best part, you can start building it today, right now, with small, intentional steps. Try speaking to yourself like you would a close friend, kindly, with patience. Honor your needs without guilt, whether it's taking a break or setting a boundary. Protect your energy like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Here's a challenge for you. Before this video ends, pause and think of one way you can show yourself love today. Maybe it's saying no to something that doesn't serve you. Maybe it's writing down one thing you're proud of about yourself. Or maybe it's just giving yourself permission to rest without feeling guilty. Whatever it is, do it. Because happiness isn't something you chase. It's something you live when you start loving yourself. If this resonates with you, hit that like button and let me know in the comments one way you're going to practice self-love today. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep exploring this journey together. You deserve a happiness that no one can take away, and it starts with you. I'll see you in the next part of this series. The provided content is already in English, as it is the YouTube script I previously wrote for setting boundaries without feeling guilty. Therefore, no translation is needed. If you meant to request a different section to be translated into English or have another specific task in mind, please clarify, and I'll provide the appropriate response. For now, I'll assume you wanted the script as is, so here it is again for reference. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let's start with a question that might feel a little uncomfortable. When was the last time you said no to something? Maybe a favor, an invite, or an extra task, and didn't feel a pang of guilt afterward. If you're like most of us, saying yes when every part of you is screaming no feels way more familiar. Today, we're diving into why setting boundaries is one of the most powerful acts of self-love you can practice, and how to do it without that nagging guilt holding you back. Here's the deal. So many of us feel guilty when we try to protect our time, our energy, or our peace. Why? Because we've been taught that putting ourselves first is selfish. From a young age, we're conditioned to believe that being a good person means saying yes to everyone else's needs, even at the cost of our own. But here's what I learned the hard way. Constantly sacrificing yourself doesn't make you a hero. It makes you exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from who you really are. A few years ago, I was the queen of saying yes. Extra work project. Sure. Last-minute plans I didn't even want to go to. I'm there. I thought it made me reliable, but all it did was leave me burned out and feeling like I was living for everyone else. It wasn't until I started setting boundaries that I realized I wasn't being selfish. I was giving myself a chance to show up as the best version of me. Let's get one thing straight. Boundaries aren't walls that shut people out. They're doors you get to open or close based on what's healthy for you. Without them, life turns into chaos. You lose touch with your own needs and you start giving so much that you have nothing left for yourself. And here's the kicker. The more you give without limits, the less people tend to value it. Think about it. The friend who's always available, the coworker who never says no, the family member who drops everything for others. They're often taken for granted. Boundaries don't push people away. They teach them how to treat you. But here's where it gets tricky. That guilt you feel when you set a boundary, it's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's just your brain adjusting to a new way of living. We're so used to tying our worth to how much we give that protecting ourselves feels like we're taking something away from others. But in reality, setting boundaries gives the world the best version of you, not the drained, resentful version that's running on empty. So, how do you start setting boundaries without that guilt creeping in? First, you've got to be okay with disappointing people. I know, that sounds tough, but you can't have self-respect and please everyone at the same time. If someone's love or respect for you depends on you overextending yourself, it's not real love or respect. It's dependence or control. People who truly care about you won't punish you for having limits. They'll respect them. Let me share a story. My friend Lisa used to answer work emails at 10 p.m. because she didn't want to seem uncommitted. She was exhausted, barely sleeping, and starting to resent her job. One day she decided to set a boundary. No work after 7 p.m. At first, she felt guilty, worried her boss would think less of her. But you know what? Her boss didn't even blink. And Lisa, she started sleeping better, feeling more focused, and actually enjoying her work again. That one boundary gave her back her energy and her life. Here's how you can start. Try small, practical boundaries. Stop answering calls or texts after a certain hour, maybe 8 p.m. Say no to events that drain you, like that party you feel obligated to attend but know will leave you wiped out. Refuse to engage in toxic conversations that leave you feeling heavy. And carve out time just for you, even if it's 15 minutes to read, journal, or sit in silence. The key is consistency. A boundary you set but keep breaking isn't a boundary, it's just a suggestion. Stick to it and watch what happens. Over time, that guilt starts to fade. You'll notice that the people who truly matter in your life respect your limits, and the ones who don't, they might fade away, but that's okay. It just makes room for relationships that are healthier and more balanced. I've seen this in my own life. When I started saying no to things that didn't serve me, I was scared I'd lose friends, but the opposite happened. The people who stayed respected me more, and I attracted new connections who valued me for who I am, not for how much I could give. Boundaries are acts of self-love in action. They say, I value myself enough to protect what matters to me. And when you live this way, your relationships improve. You attract people who respect you for you, not for how much you can do for them. Most importantly, you start building a life that feels authentic, one that's yours, not someone else's. So here's your challenge. Pick one boundary to set this week. Maybe it's turning off your phone after 9 p.m. or saying no to one thing that doesn't feel right. Write it down, stick to it, and notice how it feels. If you're ready to start protecting your peace, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what boundary you're setting this week. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You deserve a life that feels true to you. Let's make it happen. I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you said no to something without offering an excuse, an apology, or a long explanation? If you're like most of us, saying no feels like walking through a minefield. You worry it'll make you seem rude, selfish, or like you're letting someone down. But today, we're diving into why saying no is one of the most powerful acts of self-love you can embrace, and how it can protect the energy that fuels your life. Stick with me because this one's a game changer. Here's the truth. We live in a culture that glorifies busyness. Being available 24/7, saying yes to every request, juggling a million things, it's practically a badge of honor. But every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to yourself. You're giving away your time, your energy, your peace, and those are costs you can't always afford. I learned this the hard way. A couple of years ago, I said yes to everything, extra work, social plans, favors I didn't have the bandwidth for. I thought it made me valuable, but all it did was leave me burned out, resentful, and feeling like I had nothing left to give. Saying no isn't just about turning down a request, it's about protecting your energy. Think of your energy as your life force. Unlike money, you can't make more of it once it's gone. When you let the world drain you without boundaries, you lose your ability to create, to connect, to enjoy life. The ancient Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, talked about guarding your inner citadel, that core part of you that keeps you grounded. Not every battle, not every invitation, not every request is worth your energy. And saying no is how you guard that citadel. But here's where it gets tough. We're conditioned to think saying no makes us selfish or rude. I used to feel that way too. I'd say yes to things I didn't want to do, then spend days feeling frustrated with myself. But here's what I realized. The people who truly respect you will respect your no. The ones who push back or guilt trip you, they're often the ones benefiting from your lack of boundaries. Saying no isn't about shutting out the world, it's about choosing yourself. It's about respecting your time, your health, and your peace. Think of your energy like a bank account. Every commitment you make is a withdrawal. Say yes too often and you're headed for bankruptcy. Think burnout, resentment, or even getting sick from stress. I had a friend, Jake, who was the go-to guy for everyone. Need help moving? Call Jake. Need someone to cover a shift? Jake's got you. He was proud of being that guy, but he was also exhausted and short-tempered. One day, he started saying no to things that didn't align with his priorities. He was nervous at first, thought people would stop liking him. But you know what? Most people didn't care. His true friends adjusted and he felt lighter, more in control of his life. That's the power of saying no. So how do you start? First, give yourself permission to pause. When someone asks you for something, ask yourself, does this align with my priorities? Will it energize me or drain me? What am I saying no to in my own life if I say yes to this? Those questions help me get clear. For example, I started saying no to late-night work calls. At first, it felt awkward. I was worried I'd seem unprofessional. But I replaced those calls with time to unwind, and I showed up to work sharper and happier. The world didn't end. In fact, it got better. Here's how you can practice saying no. Start small. Say no to one thing this week that feels draining, maybe a social event you're only attending out of obligation or a favor you don't have time for. Don't over-explain or apologize, just say, I can't make it this time, or I'm not available for that. Keep it simple. The more you practice, the easier it gets. And here's the beautiful part. When you start saying no, you build trust in yourself. You stop over-explaining your choices. Decisions feel lighter because you're honoring what matters to you. I've seen this transform my life. When I stopped saying yes to everything, I had more energy for the things I truly cared about, my hobbies, my family, my own growth. My relationships got healthier because I wasn't showing up resentful, and I attracted people who valued my time as much as I did. Saying no isn't rejecting the world, it's choosing you. It's an act of self-love that says, my energy is precious and I get to decide how to spend it. Here's your challenge this week. Pick one thing to say no to, something that doesn't serve you or align with your priorities. Write it down, practice saying it, and notice how it feels. You might be surprised at how freeing it is. If you're ready to start protecting your energy, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what you're saying no to this week. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You deserve to guard your energy and live a life that feels true to you. Let's make it happen. I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you something that might stir up some feelings. Are you holding on to someone in your life, a friend, a partner, a colleague, who makes you feel like you're not truly valued? Someone you keep making excuses for, hoping they'll change, but deep down, you know they're draining you. Today, we're diving into the power of letting go of people who don't see your worth. It's one of the hardest but most liberating acts of self-love you can practice. Stick with me, because this could be the moment you start reclaiming your energy and your life. Here's the truth. We've all stayed too long in relationships where we didn't feel valued. Maybe it's a friend who only calls when they need something, or a partner who takes more than they give. We make excuses. They're just busy. they didn't mean it, things will get better. But every moment you spend holding onto someone who doesn't truly see you is a moment you're stealing from yourself. You're giving away your energy, your time, and your peace to someone who's not reciprocating. And that's not just exhausting, it's a betrayal of your own worth. I've been there. A few years ago, I had a friend who I thought was my rock. We'd been through so much together, and I kept holding onto the memories of who they used to be. But over time, I noticed they only reached out when they needed a favor or a shoulder to lean on. I kept hoping they'd change, but the truth was, I was clinging to an idea of them, not the reality. Letting go felt like giving up, but once I did, I realized I wasn't losing a friend. I was finding myself again. Here's the thing. Self-love and self-respect don't mix with investing in people who don't value you. True value from others looks like consistent care, respect, and presence. No question marks. No constant wondering where you stand. Anything less is just tolerance, convenience, or habit, and you deserve so much more than that. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said that we suffer not from events, but from our attachment to things we can't control. When you hold onto someone who doesn't value you, you're clinging to an illusion of control, hoping you can make them see your worth. But your worth isn't negotiable. It exists whether they see it or not. Letting go doesn't mean you're cold or heartless. It means you're choosing to protect your energy for relationships that nourish you, for growth, joy, and peace. It's about creating space for the people who show up for you the way you show up for them. I learned this when I finally stepped back from that one-sided friendship. At first, there was a void. It hurt. But that space allowed me to reconnect with myself, to pour energy into people who lifted me up, and to rediscover what made me feel alive. So how do you let go without getting stuck in guilt or regret? Start by facing the reality of the relationship. Ask yourself, does this person consistently show me care and respect? Do they make me feel seen, or am I always chasing their approval? Be honest. It's okay if the answer hurts. Next, shift your focus to what you gain by letting go. You're not losing them. You're gaining room for relationships that feel mutual, for time to pursue what lights you up, for peace that doesn't depend on someone else's validation. Here's a story that stuck with me. My cousin Maria was in a relationship where her partner was charming but inconsistent, hot and cold, always leaving her guessing. She stayed for years, hoping he'd see her worth. One day she decided to walk away. It wasn't easy. She worried she'd made a mistake. But months later, she told me she felt free for the first time in years. She started painting again, reconnected with old friends, and met people who valued her without her having to prove anything. Letting go gave her back her spark. Here's how you can start. Pick one relationship that feels one-sided. Maybe it's a friend who only takes, or a colleague who disrespects your time. Take a small step to create distance. That might mean saying no to their next request, limiting how often you reach out, or simply not engaging as much. You don't need a big confrontation, just a quiet shift in how you show up. And here's the key. Don't wait for their permission or closure. You give that to yourself. Let go of the need to explain or fix things. Your worth doesn't need their approval. The first step is always the hardest. You might worry about hurting them or being alone. But here's what I've learned. The people who truly value you won't leave when you set boundaries. And the ones who do, they're making room for better connections. Letting go is an act of self-love. It's saying, I deserve relationships that feel good, that lift me up, that honor who I am. Here's your challenge. This week, identify one person or dynamic in your life that feels draining. Take one small step to let go. Maybe it's saying no to their next ask or giving yourself permission to step back. Notice how it feels to choose yourself. If you're ready to reclaim your energy, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what step you're taking to let go this week. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You deserve relationships that make you feel seen and valued. Let's make space for them. I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let's start with a question that might hit close to home. What's the loudest voice holding you back right now? For most of us, it's not a boss, a friend, or even a family member. It's that inner critic inside our heads. You know, the one, the voice that says, "You're not good enough, you're going to fail," or "Why even try?" Today, we're diving into how to silence that inner critic and replace it with a voice that lifts you up. This is about taking back your power and building a life where you believe in yourself. Let's do this. Here's the deal. Your inner critic is often the loudest, most damaging voice you'll ever hear. It sounds like it's protecting you, keeping you realistic, saving you from embarrassment. But underneath, it's just fear dressed up as logic. It keeps you small, safe, and stuck, whispering that you shouldn't take risks or chase your dreams because you might mess up. I used to let my inner critic run the show. A few years ago, I wanted to start this very channel, but that voice in my head kept saying, "You're not ready. What if nobody watches? You'll look foolish." It almost stopped me before I even began. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your inner critic is just a part of your mind, not the truth. It's not you. Think of your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. You don't have to grab onto everyone. You can watch them drift by and choose which ones to believe. When that critic pipes up with "You can't do this," confront it. Ask, "Is this true? Where's the proof? Is this just fear talking?" More often than not, you'll find it's just noise, not fact. I started doing this when I launched my first video. Every time my inner critic said, "This is going to flop," I challenged it. "What's the worst that can happen? I'll learn something." Instead of letting that voice stop me, I replaced it with something kinder. "You're learning, keep going." That shift didn't just quiet the critic, it gave me the courage to keep showing up. And you know what? That first video wasn't perfect, but it was proof I was stronger than my doubts. So, how do you start silencing your inner critic? First, recognize where it comes from. That harsh voice often isn't even yours. It's a mix of things you've heard from a parent, a teacher, or a past failure that stuck with you. It's a learned pattern, not the truth. For me, my inner critic sounded a lot like a high school coach who told me I'd never be good enough at public speaking. Once I saw it as his voice, not mine, I could start letting it go. Ask yourself, whose voice is this? Where did I learn to talk to myself this way? Next, place that critic with an inner coach. Instead of "I can't do this," try, "I can learn how to do this." Instead of "I'm a failure," say, "I'm growing through this." It's not about pretending you're perfect, it's about speaking to yourself with the same encouragement you'd give a friend. I have a friend, Sarah, who wanted to switch careers but was paralyzed by her inner critic telling her she'd fail. She started writing down every negative thought and replacing it with a positive one, like "I'm capable of figuring this out." Within months, she was taking steps toward her new path, and that critic, it got quieter. Here's how you can make this practical. Start journaling. Write down what your inner critic says and challenge it. Is it true? What's the evidence? Then, write a kinder response, like you're coaching yourself through it. Try mindfulness. When you catch that negative voice, pause, take a deep breath, and let it pass without buying into it. Surround yourself with encouragement, whether it's supportive people, inspiring books, or even sticky notes with affirmations on your mirror. And most importantly, take consistent action. Every small step you take, whether it's finishing a task or trying something new, proves your critic wrong. Action is the loudest way to shut it up. Your inner critic wants to keep you in your comfort zone, but that's where dreams go to die. Every time you push past it, you're saying, "I'm capable, I'm worthy, I deserve to take up space." Look back at your life. How many times has that critic been wrong? That time you thought you'd fail but didn't. That moment you took a risk and grew. You're already proof you're bigger than your doubts. Here's your challenge. This week, catch your inner critic at least once. Write down what it says, challenge it with evidence, and replace it with a kinder thought. Then take one small action to prove it wrong. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting or starting that project you've been avoiding. If you're ready to take back your power, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what your inner critic said and how you're challenging it. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are so much more than your doubts. Let's prove it. I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something just for you? Something that made you feel cared for, not because you earned it, but because you're worth it. Not a fancy spa day or a big treat, but a small, intentional act that says, I matter. Today, we're diving into why self-care is so much more than a buzzword. It's the foundation of your self-worth. Stick with me because this is about building a life where you truly believe you're worth loving. Here's the truth. Self-care isn't just bubble baths or vacations. It's a daily declaration that you're worth protecting, investing in, and loving. Without it, you're sending yourself a message that you're not a priority, and that makes it so easy to accept less than you deserve from yourself and others. I used to think self-care was selfish. A few years ago, I was running on empty, working late, saying yes to everyone, skipping meals to get more done. I thought I was being productive, but I was neglecting myself. And you know what? I felt worthless, like I didn't matter unless I was doing something for someone else. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." That means mastering what you have, your body, your mind, your emotions, and treating them like they're worth caring for. Self-care isn't glamorous. It's choosing to go to bed early instead of scrolling for hours. It's eating a healthy meal even when you're busy. It's saying no to an invitation that drains you or having that tough conversation to protect your peace. These small choices build self-trust, showing you that you can choose what's best for you in the long run, not just what feels good in the moment. Think of self-care like an investment. Every time you make a deposit, whether it's a good meal, a workout, a moment of rest, or writing in a journal, it compounds. Over time, those deposits build confidence, resilience, and self-respect. But neglect, that drains your account faster than you think. I learned this when I started prioritizing small acts of care, like taking 10 minutes to stretch in the morning. At first, it felt like a waste of time. I had emails to answer, but those 10 minutes made me feel stronger, more grounded, and like I was worth that effort. It was a game changer. Here's the paradox. When you put self-care first, you actually have more to give to others. You can't pour from an empty cup, right? If you're running on fumes, you're not showing up as your best self, for you or anyone else. Self-care overlaps with boundaries too. You can't take care of yourself if you're letting toxic relationships, overloaded schedules, or negative noise from news and social media invade your space. I had a friend, Emma, who was always there for everyone, family, friends, coworkers, but she was miserable because she never said no. When she started carving out time for herself, like a 20-minute walk each evening, she noticed she felt less resentful and more present for the people she loved. Caring for herself didn't take away from others, it made her better for them. So, how do you start? It's not about time or money, it's about consistency. Try small, doable acts of self-care. Maybe it's 10 minutes of meditation in the morning, eating one healthy meal a day, or going for a 20-minute walk. It could be as simple as turning off your phone for an hour to read or journal. Ask yourself, do my choices today show that I love myself? If the answer's no, it's time to make a change. Self-care isn't a reward for being good enough. It's the foundation for becoming the person you admire. Here's why this matters. When you care for your body, mind, and heart, you're telling yourself, I am worth it. That message builds a new level of self-worth that no one can take away. You stop abandoning yourself for others' demands. You start showing up with confidence, knowing you've got your own back. I've seen this in my own life. When I started prioritizing sleep and saying no to things that drained me, I felt like a different person, stronger, clearer, and more in tune with what I wanted. It wasn't just about feeling good. It was about believing I deserved to. Let me share a story. My Uncle Tom used to live for everyone else. His job, his family, his community. He thought self-care was a luxury he couldn't afford. But after a health scare, he started small, drinking more water, taking short walks, and cutting out toxic conversations. Those changes didn't just improve his health, they made him feel like he mattered. He told me, I didn't realize how much I was ignoring myself until I started listening. That's the power of self-care. It's a daily reminder that you're worth investing in. Here's your challenge. Pick one small act of self-care to commit to this week. Maybe it's going to bed 30 minutes earlier, eating a healthy breakfast, or saying no to something that doesn't serve you. Write it down, stick to it, and notice how it feels to prioritize yourself. If you're ready to build your self-worth through self-care, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what act of self-care you're choosing this week. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You deserve to feel like you matter. Let's make it happen. I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you spent time alone? Just you, no distractions, no phone, no noise, and actually enjoyed it. Not felt restless or lonely, but truly comfortable in your own skin. For a lot of us, being alone feels awkward, even scary. But today, we're diving into why learning to enjoy your own company is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. It's the key to unshakable peace and a life where your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else. Let's get into it. Here's the truth. We live in a world that's always on. Notifications, social plans, endless to-do lists. Being alone can feel like punishment, like you're missing out or failing at connection. But what if I told you that learning to enjoy your own company is the ultimate freedom? When you rely on others to feel okay, you're handing over your stability to something you can't control. People change, plans fall through, relationships shift. But when you're at peace with yourself, you take back control. Your happiness isn't tied to who's around or what they think of you. It's yours, steady and untouchable. I used to dread being alone. A few years ago, I'd fill every spare moment with noise, music, shows, texting friends, because silence made me antsy. I thought I needed people around to feel okay, but when I started spending intentional time alone, everything changed. I realized I wasn't running from loneliness. I was running from myself. Learning to enjoy my own company didn't just make me feel stronger, it made me feel free. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Nowhere can a man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Your own company is your richest source of peace, but you have to lean into it. Silence isn't empty. It's where you hear your own truths, where you grow by facing yourself head-on. This isn't about isolating yourself. It's about removing the neediness that makes you chase others to fill a void. When you enjoy your own company, you choose relationships out of desire, not fear. You connect because you want to, not because you're afraid of being alone. Let me share a story. My friend Alex was always surrounded by people, parties, meetups, you name it. But he admitted to me that he felt lonely even in a crowd because he didn't know how to be okay on his own. He started small, taking short walks without his phone, just letting his thoughts wander. At first, it felt weird. He didn't know what to do with the quiet. But over time, he started to love those moments. He reconnected with hobbies he'd forgotten, like sketching, and found clarity about what he really wanted in life. That time alone didn't make him isolated. It made him more confident, more present, and better at choosing who he let into his world. So, how do you start enjoying your own company? It's not about locking yourself away. It's about creating space to be with yourself without distractions. Start small. Take a walk without headphones, eat a meal without scrolling, or spend an evening reading or journaling. It might feel awkward at first. Growth often does. Your mind might race or you might feel restless. That's okay. Ask yourself, why does being alone scare me? Is it because I don't like my own thoughts? Because my identity feels tied to others? Or because I was never taught I'm enough on my own? Those questions can help you unlearn old patterns and start becoming your own best friend. Here's what I've learned. Time alone is like a blank canvas. It's a space to reflect, plan, create, rest, or reconnect with things you love. For me, it was picking up guitar again after years of neglecting it. Those quiet evenings strumming alone didn't just bring me joy. They helped me trust myself more. I started handling my emotions better, solving problems on my own, and figuring out what I truly wanted. The static of the world faded, and I could hear my own voice again. That clarity made me less vulnerable to people or situations that didn't serve me. Here's why this matters. When you value your own company, you're building a cycle of self-love. The more you love yourself, the more you value your alone time. The more you value your alone time, the less you tolerate people or habits that drain you. You become less needy, more grounded, and your relationships transform. You stop asking others to fill gaps in your self-worth. Instead, you show up whole, choosing connections that add to your life, not define it. Let me share another example. My coworker Jen used to hate being alone. She'd call it boring. But during a busy season at work, she started carving out 15 minutes a day to sit quietly with a cup of tea. No phone, no distractions. She told me it was like meeting herself for the first time. She started noticing what made her happy, what stressed her out, and what she wanted to change. That small habit didn't just boost her confidence, it helped her set better boundaries and choose better friendships. Here's your challenge. This week, carve out one small moment to spend alone. No distractions, just you. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk, a quiet meal, or 15 minutes to journal. Notice how it feels and lean into it. If you're ready to discover the freedom of enjoying your own company, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what you're doing to spend time with yourself this week. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You deserve a peace that no one can take away. Let's find it together. I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let's start with a question that might make you think. How much of your day is spent chasing someone else's approval? A compliment that lifts you up, a like on your post, or maybe a criticism that keeps you up at night. We've all been there, replaying what someone said or checking our phones for validation. But today, we're diving into why letting go of the need for external validation is the key to unshakable self-worth. This is about building a life where you decide you're enough. Let's get started. Here's the truth. Seeking validation from others is a trap. A kind word can make your day, but a harsh one can ruin it. You might feel on top of the world when someone praises you, but that high fades fast, and suddenly you're chasing the next hit of approval. I used to live this way. A few years ago, I'd post something online and check obsessively for likes. If I didn't get enough, I'd question my worth. If someone didn't like my work, I'd spiral. I was handing the keys to my happiness to people who didn't even know the real me. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "You become what you give your attention to." When you focus on what others think, you're giving away your power. Their opinions, good or bad, are shaped by their biases, insecurities, and fleeting moods, not your true worth. Your value doesn't depend on their applause. Seeking validation is like building a house on sand. One gust of wind, one shift in someone's mood, and it crumbles. I learned this when I started creating this channel. At first, I was obsessed with feedback, what viewers thought, how many likes I got. But I realized the world is too distracted to see the full picture of who I am. They see fragments, project their fears, or judge based on their own baggage. My worth had to come from me. So, how do you break free from needing external validation? It starts with shifting where you find your worth. Instead of looking for others to tell you you're enough, set your own standards. Keep promises to yourself. Focus on your skills, your values, your integrity. Ask yourself, would I be proud of this choice if no one saw it? Am I doing this for me or for applause? For example, I started running not to impress anyone, but because it made me feel strong. Every step was a reminder that I could show up for myself, no matter who was watching. Let me share a story. My friend Rachel used to dress to get compliments and chose a career that looked impressive but left her empty. She was living for others' approval, always tweaking herself to avoid judgment. One day, she decided to stop. She started journaling about what she valued, kindness, creativity, growth, and made choices based on those. She switched to a job she loved, even if it wasn't prestigious. The result? She felt grounded, like her life was hers again. She still cared what people thought, but it didn't define her anymore. Here's how you can start. Try this exercise. Pick one thing you're doing today, maybe a work project, a hobby, or even how you present yourself. Ask, Would I still do this if no one clapped? If the answer's no, reframe it. Do it because it aligns with who you are or who you want to be. Another trick: start celebrating your own wins, no matter how small. Did you keep a promise to yourself, like going to bed early or finishing a task? That's worth celebrating. Over time, these small acts build a foundation of self-worth that no one can shake. The benefit: stability. When you stop needing external validation, you're not crushed by a no or addicted to a yes. You can hear feedback without letting it define you. Your relationships get stronger too. You stop putting pressure on others to reassure you, so you show up more present, more authentic. I've seen this in my own life. When I stopped chasing likes and started creating for me, my content got better and my connections felt real. I was free to be myself, not a version filtered for approval. This doesn't mean you ignore all feedback. Healthy input from people you trust is valuable. But weigh it against your own principles, don't depend on it. The world's moods, tastes, and attention will always shift, but your inner voice, that's steady, trust it. You'll still want to be liked, who doesn't? But your worth won't rise or fall with someone else's opinion. You'll move through life centered, knowing you're enough because you say so. Here's your challenge this week. Pick one moment where you're tempted to seek validation, maybe posting online or trying to impress someone. Pause and ask, am I doing this for me or for them? Then, do one thing just for yourself, something that aligns with your values, whether anyone notices or not. If you're ready to build unshakable self-worth, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what you're doing for you this week. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You deserve a life where your worth comes from within. Let's make it happen. I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you something that might feel heavy. How many nights have you spent replaying a mistake in your head, wishing you could go back and change it? A choice you regret, words you wish you hadn't said, or a moment you can't let go of. We've all been there, stuck in that loop of guilt. But today, we're diving into something powerful: how to forgive yourself and move forward. This is about breaking free from the past and stepping into a life where you're not defined by your mistakes. Let's do this together. Here's the truth: you can't change the past. It's set in stone. But what you can change is how you relate to it. Self-forgiveness is hard because it means facing your flaws, your failures, your regrets head-on without excuses. It's about releasing yourself from the prison of self-judgment. I used to carry so much guilt over a fallout with a friend years ago. I said things I shouldn't have, and for a long time I couldn't let it go. I thought beating myself up was productive, like I was paying for my mistake, but all it did was keep me chained to a moment that no longer existed. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "To expect punishment is to suffer it, and to earn it is to expect it." When we're trapped in guilt over the past, we're robbing ourselves of today. Guilt feels like it's doing something, like it's making up for what we did wrong, but it's just holding us back. True forgiveness isn't about pretending the mistake didn't happen. It's about learning the lesson so deeply that you don't repeat it. It's about giving yourself permission to move forward, not because you're perfect, but because you're human. So, how do you start forgiving yourself? First, get honest. Acknowledge what you did wrong, accept your role, and sit with the discomfort. That takes courage. For me, it meant admitting I'd hurt my friend and owning that I wasn't my best self in that moment. Then, practice self-compassion. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you love. If your best friend made a mistake, would you berate them forever? Of course not. You'd encourage them to learn and keep going. So why treat yourself any differently? Harsh self-talk only damages you more. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, remind us that mistakes are human. We'd extend understanding to others, so why not ourselves? Here's what worked for me. I wrote a letter to myself about that fallout, owning what I did and forgiving myself for being imperfect. Then I took action. If you can make amends, do it. Apologize sincerely, make things right if possible, and commit to doing better. But the hardest part: letting go of the identity tied to your mistake. Guilt can feel so familiar that it becomes part of who you think you are. You're not that one failure. You're a collection of choices and your story is still being written. Let me share a story. My coworker David messed up a big work project a while back. He was so hard on himself, replaying every mistake, convinced he was a failure. One day, he decided to forgive himself. He owned his part, apologized to his team, and focused on what he could do better next time. Instead of staying stuck, he took on new projects with more confidence. That choice to let go didn't erase the mistake, it gave him space to grow. Now he's thriving, and he told me forgiving himself was like lifting a weight off his chest. Here's why this matters. When you forgive yourself, you create space for possibility. You stop focusing on repairing the past and start building your future. You take risks again, you show up fully present, and you let yourself dream bigger. Ask yourself, if a friend made the same mistake, would you shame them forever or would you urge them to move forward? You owe yourself that same grace. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's reclaiming your power to define yourself by your next choices, not your past ones. Here's how to make it practical. Start by writing down one mistake you're holding onto. Be honest about what happened, then write a compassionate response, like you're talking to a friend. Maybe it's, you messed up but you're learning and you're worth moving forward. If you can, take one action to make amends, an apology, a small step to make things right. Then commit to letting it go. Every time that guilt creeps back, remind yourself, I'm not that mistake, I'm choosing to grow. Over time, you'll feel lighter, freer, and ready to take on your life with new energy. Here's your challenge this week. Pick one thing you're still beating yourself up over. Write it down, forgive yourself with kindness, and take one small step to move forward. Maybe an apology or a new action that aligns with who you want to be. If you're ready to let go and reclaim your power, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what you're forgiving yourself for this week. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You deserve the freedom to move forward. Let's make it happen. I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at someone who radiates confidence and wondered, how do they do that? Like they were born with it or found some secret formula. Here's the truth. Confidence isn't something you're born with or stumble upon. It's built, brick by brick, through the actions you take every single day. Today, we're diving into how consistent action can transform your self-doubt into unshakable confidence. Stick with me, because this is about becoming someone who trusts themselves to show up no matter what. Here's the deal. Confidence doesn't come from waiting for the perfect moment or feeling ready. That's backward. You don't wait for confidence to act. Acting builds confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, whether it's waking up on time, finishing a task, or hitting the gym, you're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. On the flip side, every time you avoid or procrastinate, you're voting for doubt. I used to think I needed to feel confident before starting something big like public speaking. But when I started showing up anyway, practicing, stumbling, trying again, I noticed something. My confidence grew because I proved to myself I could do it. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Confidence comes from focusing on your actions, not on what others think. People might judge, doubt, or misunderstand your efforts. That's okay. Growth invites scrutiny, but it's your job to keep showing up, not to chase approval. Consistency is the key. It's not about grand gestures. It's about following through even when you're tired, unmotivated, or the world feels heavy. Those moments matter most, because keeping your word to yourself in the storm proves you're someone you can rely on, even when the sun's not shining. I learned this when I committed to writing every day, even just for 10 minutes. Some days I didn't feel like it. Work was stressful, life was chaotic. But sticking to that small promise day after day showed me I could trust myself. Those little wins stacked up and I started to see myself as a doer, not a dreamer. That's what builds confidence, not perfection but persistence. Here's the thing, you don't have to succeed every time to build confidence. Growth comes from failing, surviving, and trying again. The Stoic Marcus Aurelius said, "You don't have to fear failure, you only have to fear your estimation of it." See mistakes as training, not proof you're not good enough. When I bombed my first big presentation, I thought it defined me. But looking back, that failure taught me how to prepare better, speak clearer, and stay calm under pressure. It wasn't the failure that shaped me. It was the choice to keep going. Let me share a story. My friend Mike wanted to get fit but was terrified of the gym, thought he'd look foolish. Instead of waiting to feel confident, he started small, 20-minute walks, then light workouts at home. Some days he didn't feel like it, but he showed up anyway. Over months, those small actions turned into a habit. He didn't just get stronger physically. He started carrying himself differently, speaking up more, trusting his decisions. His confidence wasn't from the mirror. It was from proving to himself he could keep his word. Here's how you can start. Pick small, actionable promises to keep. Maybe it's waking up at the same time every day, finishing one task you've been avoiding, or doing 20 minutes of exercise. These micro wins prove you're reliable to yourself. Focus on internal rewards, not external applause. Did you do what you said you'd do? That's the win. The irony: when you build confidence from within, people notice. They're drawn to your certainty, your calm. But you're not chasing their validation, you're just being you. Here's what's powerful: every action you take is like a rep in the gym, strengthening the muscle of confidence. The more you show up, the stronger you get. And when you mess up, that's just part of the workout. Keep going and you'll carry that strength into every part of your life: relationships, work, dreams. You'll become someone who trusts themselves to act no matter how they feel. Here's your challenge. This week, pick one small action to commit to every day. Something simple like a 10-minute walk, writing a page, or tackling one task. Stick to it even when it's hard and notice how it feels to keep your word. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding because I don't feel ready? Then, do it anyway. If you're ready to build confidence through action, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what small promise you're keeping this week. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You're capable of becoming the confident person you admire. Let's make it happen. I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you paused and felt grateful for you? Not for what you've done or what you have, but for who you are right now in all your messy, beautiful imperfection. We live in a world that's always pointing out what's missing, but today, we're flipping that script. We're diving into how practicing gratitude for who you are can transform the way you see yourself and your life. This is about finding joy in being you exactly as you are. Let's get started. Here's the truth. The world trains us to focus on the gap, what we don't have, what we're not yet, what we think we're missing. Social media, ads, even casual conversations tell us we need to be richer, fitter, smarter, or more successful to be enough. But there's a paradox. You'll only feel fulfilled when you start being grateful for who you are right now. Gratitude isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about seeing your worth without needing to earn it. It's about recognizing the battles you've fought, the storms you've survived, and the values you've held onto, even when it was hard. I used to fall into the trap of wishing I was different, more outgoing, more accomplished, less flawed. I'd compare myself to others and feel like I was falling short. But when I started practicing gratitude for myself, everything shifted. I began to see my resilience, my kindness, my ability to keep going even after setbacks. That gratitude didn't erase my flaws. It gave me the strength to embrace them and grow. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if you will ever dig." Gratitude for yourself isn't complacency, it's clarity. It's seeing the good that already exists in you, not waiting for some future version to be worthy. The Stoics remind us that even the poorest person craves more if they can't see their own value. The richest person, they stand alone, knowing they're enough because of the strength they carry right now. That's the mindset we're building, shifting from lack to abundance. For me, this looked like starting my mornings by writing down 3 things I appreciated about myself. Not big wins, but qualities, like how I keep showing up even when I'm scared, or how I stay loyal to the people I care about. It felt awkward at first, almost like bragging. But it wasn't vanity, it was fuel. It strengthened that inner voice that says, "You're worthy," and quieted the one that whispers, "You're not enough." Try it, appreciate yourself the way you'd appreciate a friend. You'd never tell them they are only worth what they achieve, so why say it to yourself? Here's a story that stuck with me. My friend Lisa used to define herself by her mistakes, a failed project, a relationship that didn't work out. She thought that's who she was, but she started a gratitude practice, jotting down one thing each day she was proud of about herself, like her persistence or her ability to make others laugh. Over time, she stopped seeing herself as her worst moments. She told me, "I realized I'm not my failures. I'm the person who keeps getting back up." That shift didn't just boost her confidence. It made her more resilient to criticism and more at peace with who she was. Here's why this matters. Gratitude for yourself changes how you move through life. Instead of chasing and comparing, you start from a place of abundance. Growth becomes a choice, not a desperate attempt to fill a void. You're not shaken by others' judgments because you know your strengths and hold your weaknesses without shame. You become someone who can take criticism without crumbling and receive praise without needing it. It's like building a foundation that nothing can knock down. So, how do you start? It's simple but powerful. Each morning, write down 3 things you're grateful for about yourself. Maybe your courage, your curiosity, or how you got up after a tough day. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be true. Another trick, measure yourself against your past self, not others. Look at your growth, your resilience, your small victories. Ask yourself, what am I proud of about who I'm becoming? This practice reverses that negative focus and trains you to see your worth in progress, not perfection. You'll never love yourself if you postpone it until you're better. Love yourself now, in the middle of the journey. The beauty of this is that gratitude for who you are is the foundation for every success. It gives you the strength to take risks, to show up authentically, to build a life that feels true. When you stop waiting for the world to validate you and start seeing your own value, you unlock a kind of resilience that carries you through anything. Here's your challenge. This week, start a gratitude practice for yourself. Write down one thing each day you appreciate about who you are. Maybe a quality, a choice, or a moment you showed up. Notice how it feels to celebrate you. If you're ready to build a life from abundance, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what you're grateful for about yourself today. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You are enough right now, exactly as you are. Let's embrace it. I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. We've been on quite a journey together, haven't we? From setting boundaries to silencing our inner critic, it all comes down to one powerful truth. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how the world treats you. Today, we're wrapping up this series by talking about why loving yourself, truly, deeply, and unapologetically, is the foundation for a life filled with strength, joy, and unshakable happiness. Let's bring it all together and inspire you to start this journey now, no matter where you are. Ready? Let's dive in. Here's the core of it all. If you ignore your own needs, dismiss your boundaries, or downplay your worth, the world will follow your lead. But when you set a standard, when you protect your energy, honor your value, and treat yourself with respect, you teach others how to treat you too. Self-love isn't just a feel-good idea. It's a radical act of setting the tone for every relationship, every opportunity, and every moment of your life. I learned this the hard way. For years, I put everyone else first, saying yes to things that drained me, chasing approval to feel worthy. But when I started prioritizing myself, saying no, taking time for me, believing I was enough, everything changed. People respected me more, and I felt stronger, freer, like I was finally living my life. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Self-respect is the core of true freedom, and that starts with disciplined self-love. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment when life is neat and tidy. It's about choosing to love yourself in the chaos, with your imperfections, your scars, your dreams. That's where the magic happens. When you love yourself from a place of strength, not desperation, you stop chasing or clinging to others for validation. Your happiness becomes something you carry within you, unshakable no matter what life throws your way. I remember when I started this channel, I was terrified of judgment, worried I wouldn't measure up. But I decided to show up anyway, not for likes or views, but because I believed in my message. That choice, to root my worth in myself, not others' opinions, gave me the courage to keep going. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about being committed to myself. And that commitment changed how I showed up in my relationships, my work, and even my quiet moments alone. Here's the thing. Loving yourself more doesn't mean loving others less. It means loving them better. When you're grounded in your own worth, you don't need others to fill a void. You show up fully present, giving from abundance, not emptiness. Your relationships become richer because you're not asking anyone to fix you. You're already whole. And the best part, you stop tolerating what doesn't serve you. You choose connections that lift you up, work that aligns with your values, and a life that feels authentic. It all starts with the relationship you build with yourself. Let me share a story. My friend Sarah spent years seeking approval from everyone, her boss, her family, even strangers online. She was exhausted, always trying to be what others wanted. Then she started small acts of self-love, setting boundaries, taking time to rest, celebrating her own wins. Over time, she noticed a shift. She didn't need constant validation anymore. Her friendships deepened because she was authentic, not performing. Her confidence grew because she was rooted in gratitude for who she was, not who she thought she should be. That's the power of self-love. It sets the tone for everything. So how do you make this real? Stop waiting for permission to love yourself. You don't need to be better or fixed to start. Try this. Each day, do one thing that honors you. Maybe it's saying no to something that drains you, writing down a quality you're proud of, or taking 10 minutes to do something you love. Ask yourself, am I treating myself the way I'd treat someone I care about? If not, make a shift. Root your actions in gratitude for who you are right now, your strength, your persistence, your heart. This isn't about ego. It's about building a foundation that lets you grow, take risks, and show up fully in your life. The beauty of this is that your relationship with yourself sets the stage for every other connection. When you value yourself, you attract people who value you too. You stop settling for less than you deserve. You move through life with a quiet confidence, knowing you're enough no matter who's watching. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up for yourself day after day with love and intention. Here's your challenge. This week, commit to one act of self-love every day. Maybe it's setting a boundary, taking time to rest, or celebrating something you're proud of about yourself. Write it down, do it, and notice how it feels to prioritize you. If you're ready to set the tone for a life of strength and joy, hit that like button, and let me know in the comments what act of self-love you're choosing this week. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this journey going together. You deserve a life where you're the first person to believe in you. Let's make it happen. I'll see you in the next video.